Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. You're joining me on a really gorgeous morning for the May tour. We had an absolute dumping of rain yesterday, yay! First really decent rain since about the third week of February. It's gorgeous, the garden is fizzing this morning from that rain, it's lovely. All the greens are really bright, the smell of damp earth, oh, it's lovely. I would love to stay here all day, but I can't, I'm needed elsewhere. Just before we go out into the garden to see how things are doing at the beginning of May, I wanted to just sort of give out a really encouraging message today to say, don't panic. I feel a little bit behind. I missed the whole of March in the garden. A whole month missed at the beginning of spring is a huge deal. But I was kind of looking back to last year and I'm at about the same spot that I was in last year. And I managed to turn it around last year. So yeah, I'm not panicking. I know there's a bit of hard work ahead in the next sort of 3 weeks or so. I think it's either the 6th or the 7th of May today, so there's only 3 weeks of May left. And this whole garden needs to be turned around in that time. Oh, but like I said, based on last year, I know I can do it. And the difference is this year, we are getting a bit more rain, which will make it so much easier for me to manage the ground. Now, I know from recent comments, messages, whatever, there are quite a few of you who are also you're feeling a bit behind, you feel like, you know, you've sort of lost your gardening mojo over the winter and it still hasn't quite come back. What I'm going to advise, and it's what I'm going to be doing for myself this month, is you may have a great long list of jobs. Mine, for instance, includes the shed needs a good sort out. More importantly, it needs painting. The whole, especially this side which faces south, it really gets weathered by the sun. It needs painting. I want to preserve the life of this shed by getting a coat on it. However, dumping that for now. The area behind my fence with all those metal poles and the path, that needs sorting. That was a winter job. Forget it. Dump it. It doesn't matter. The only thing any of us need to be thinking about this month is digging our beds, sowing our seeds, transplanting, pricking out, bringing on, hardening off, and planting our little plants in the garden. That's it. Dig your beds, plant your seeds. It's as simple as that. I mean, actually, it really is as simple as that, isn't it? Unless you're, obviously, if you're a no-dig, you'll be working on building up your compost and getting your compost onto your beds. But essentially, this month is all about get a bed ready, get it seeded. Or get a bed ready and be doing your seeding, whether it's at home or in your cold frame or on your deck, like me. If we're doing those two things in tandem, by the end of the month, all the beds will be ready, all our seeds will be up. Take your seeds, seedlings, little plants, put them in the ground. Garden is done. And then as we go into the summer and we get into that sort of slightly more maintenance phase of the garden with watering, weeding, tying in our tomatoes, my favourite job, as we go into that period, then we can come back to all those jobs that we didn't manage to get done during the winter, such as building sheds, painting sheds, building fences, maintaining our paths, all that sort of thing. So if you've got all of those things to do, give yourself permission to not worry about them and to just push them to the side for at least the next month, and instead promise yourself that you're just going to focus on get a bed done, get some seeds done, get another bed done, get some more seeds done. You know, if I go at it, if I do that every other day or every third day, it'll be done by the end of May. And I also appreciate that some of you can't do your garden every day because you work Monday to Friday. But also, I mean, I spread it out like that just because of the old knee issue. I'm not going on one, but just, you know, I'm being practical. So yeah, if you can't do one bed every 2 or 3 days, maybe think, okay, I'll do 3 beds on Saturday and 2 beds on Sunday. And in the evenings, whilst you're at home, you can do your seed sowing if it's indoor seed sowing, or pop to your allotment in the evening and do some seed sowing down there. Nothing too arduous because you've got work the next day. Oh, we can do it. We can do it. Yay. So, without further ado, let's go and see how things are looking at the beginning of May. I had to think then. Oh, and the other thing, of course, towards the end of the month is all the support structures. So our teepees and our bean arches and all those other bits and bobs. But I would say with the structures, certainly from my point of view, even that I'm not going to worry about at the moment. Because if I plant a bean seed, I mean, I'll know where I've planted it. I could even just mark it. It's not going to need support straight away. So I'm not going to worry about those supports at the moment. I'm just going to focus on beds and seeds and seedlings. Beds and seeds and seedlings. Beds and seeds and seedlings. Make that your mantra for the month. Stop faffing around with other stuff. Do your beds and seeds. Right, now let's go. Oh, it's clouding over a bit. Let's go and check out where we're at the beginning of May. Oh, even the bird song seems brighter after rain, doesn't it? So here we are at the top of the garden. Oh, look, happy moist soil. I've just noticed in the last couple of days the first of the wee poached eggplants have come out. The bees will love these. And also in amongst them here, a little smattering of forget-me-nots. Pretty. And then that is the verbena that's coming back. The tulips have gone over, so what I've done is I've just pinched off their heads, leave all of the rest to die back in its own time. What it's doing now is it's gathering energy and taking it down into the bulb to store it for next year. So yeah, when any of your spring bulbs are over, just nip off the flowering head so it doesn't try to form seed, and then let it die back in its own time. The tree lily, there's one stalk coming. Let's come around the other side of my sign. And a second, a third, a tiny fourth, a fifth, and there was one coming down here, but can you see? Oh, it's in shadow. It's really been nibbled. I've never known that before, but I will have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and a really tiny 6th stem. It's managed to come up quite near the path again. I thought I'd taken out this one and left that one, but now that I know what it looks like and how it behaves down there, having had a look this winter, what I might do again this coming winter, let it die back, let it die back, let it die back, go down there very gently with a fork with a much wider berth, try and find it, lift it and just move it so it's more there, so there's no chance of it coming up in the path, because if it comes up in the path I'll have to chop its head off, which will be such a shame. Yay! Hurrah for beds that are seeded! So in here I've got my 2 rows of parsnips and 2 rows of calendula. Next bed over, excuse me. So it's been dug, it needs a little bit more prep, it needs some not horse manure, chicken manure adding, and it needs to be broken into a finer tilth, and this will be for rocking core beans, chickpeas, and right on the end I think I'm going to put my co-trontuda from Paul. Likewise this bed, it's been dug. There wasn't much organic matter left on the top of these beds after the whole winter, but any that was there has just been tickled in a bit. So yes, this needs to be brought down to a finer tilth too, and this will be for chard, perpetual spinach, and then right on the end in a little cluster here I'm going to have my du long de londe peppers. Again, trying them in a block to replicate the Feher Ozen last year, which seemed to do really well in a block as opposed to the Orange Bell, which didn't do so well in a long sort of single file row. In this bed I have my, what do I have? My first earlies, my salad potatoes. Absolutely no sign. Yeah, it's a bit early to be seeing anything, and something that a lot of folk on my site have said, and this is my main crop, folk who planted considerably earlier than me still have nothing. Everyone seems to think the potatoes are coming really late this year. So obviously I'll keep a close eye on it. You know, it's one of the first things I look at every time I come to the garden is, are there any signs of anything shooting in any of my beds? Don't we all? It's the first thing we do, isn't it? Even before I've put my coat and bag down. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully they won't be too far away. The green seems greener after rain, doesn't it? It's all that lovely nitrogen in the rain. So the garlic, well, they're just getting on with being garlic. They will still be in there, where are we? Beginning of May. They've got probably about another couple of months to go. Towards the end of June they will come out, and, well, the flint corn should go in. And saying that has reminded me I need to sow my flint corn. See what I mean? It's all about the beds and the sowings. In here were the purple sprouting broccoli. I haven't done anything with this bed yet apart from take them out, and you can see it's all mega lumps, bumps, compacted. This I need to prepare. It's going to be half for celery and half for fennel, so I do need to get a much finer tilth, in that end in order to sow my fennel. But it's good to get this bed, just start to get things cleared. That's great. Next bed over, this is, how many rows did I do then? 4 rows of carrots. I've got 3 rows of Autumn King, which is my absolute stalwart, my goes right through winter into next spring carrot. And then in the front I've got a little row here of a carrot called Bambini, which I shall be hopefully using as a late summer carrot. And then on the end, I've got my Alice Fowler sewing technique for my leeks. Again, no sign. Oh, we're right on the cusp, aren't we? I can't wait to see these things starting to shoot. Patience, Vivi. And then in this bed, which, I don't know, I think I need to look at my bed sizes again, because this is a little bit wide. I ended up getting 5 rows of onions in. Oh, and look. Yes, look at you. It's pushed itself out the soil a bit. Unless, actually, do you know what it is? The rain has pelted the soil, so it's compacted it. And that one's got a little shoot too. A little bit of green. I wouldn't really be expecting anything from them just yet, because A, we've been really dry, and B, it's only been, how long is it? A week and a bit, maybe 10 days. What I can see sprouting in this bed, so this is 4 rows of red onions, Red Baron, but can you see there's quite a lot of green in here. This is all the little wee calendula seeds, which are self-sown, because this was the calendula bed last year. Now, in other beds, excuse me, in other news, in other beds where the calendula self-seed, I quite often let them just carry on and grow. I shan't in the onions. I'll be plucking them out, because the onions will really, really hate to compete. They hate weeds, they hate anything else. So yeah, I'll be plucking them out. I've even got, I don't know if you can make out, up the sides of each path, they've self-seeded too. Oh, sweet things. So these top 2 beds now, apart from, I need to sow those 2 beds, or apart from, I need to get this down to a tilth and sow this. Obviously the celery are at home, they'll come down. But they're kind of well on their way to being sort of, they've had my attention, now I can leave them alone to grow. The next 2 beds are more about some of the really tender stuff. So they're always the last beds to tackle. This is looking like a builder's yard with all the bricks. Gradually, as I uncover all the other beds, I still need somewhere to stash all my wood until I make my teepees, and then lots of this chunky wood, I use it through the summer to weigh down cardboard. So when I grow, for example, my horizontal squash, I'll cover the beds in cardboard, weigh them down with all this wood, bricks, what have you, and then just cut a hole through for the squash to be planted. So that's been quite a humping, lumping effort in the last couple of days, just getting everything moved to this one bed so that I can start to, some of this came from the top 2 beds over here. So yeah, it looks a bit of a mess, but it's organised. It's an organised mess. This bed will be for tomatoes, as will the one that's got the blown Cavallo Nero in. So there'll be 2 of the last beds to prepare, because I shan't be planting tomatoes till the first week of June, probably. Likewise, this bed, so you can see at the moment, this was all the purple sprouting broccoli, waiting for me to chop it. Chop and compost, chop and make into mulch, whatever. This was the ex kind of rubbish brassica bed. Now, you can see, can you see? There's a line there. This one is pretty much hidden. Let me see if I can indicate that to you. You know, you can't very well see it because it's mostly over cardboard. But this is where I want to have the new path. Ideally, it would have been a job in the winter, but didn't get around to it. Now, you might say, why are you bothering with your paths, Vivi, when you've just banged on about all we should be doing in May is doing our beds and seeding? The reason I'm going to do it is because I need/want to increase this bed size. And actually, hopefully in the next couple of days I'll do that, because having had this rain, it will make it a bit easier to tackle. So as you can see, I'm looking to gain, what is that, about anywhere between it's about 15 centimetres I'm hoping to gain on this one, lose on this one, and then likewise, I haven't marked this out yet, but sort of slightly similar here. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be hard work, but I'm looking forward to it because it's been a bit of an outstanding job for the last 2 seasons. So I'm determined to not have it hanging over into next year. Look, even when the brassicas are out, the bees are still enjoying. Can you see that? Yeah, good on you. Nothing's been done here yet. I need to do some weeding of my paths. The celery, it's kind of past its best now, but there are still some leaves in there that, chopped up in a soup, fine. Again, these 2 beds, because they're for my tender stuff, this is going to be horizontal squash. These will be some of the last beds I'll tackle. In fact, these 2 main beds at the bottom of the garden, these are the last 2 beds, as in, sorry, I'm being confusing, aren't I? 2 big beds, 10 small beds, the last 10 small beds to tackle, because it's all squash, tomatoes, peppers, cukes, all my tender stuff. This is all going to be squash, no sign of the bean experiment yet. This is all the horse poo that I haven't spread yet because I'm doing that experiment. This was, oh, my knee, sorry. This was the next bed I was going to tackle the other day, but I gave up. I'd already done those top 2 beds, and I thought that's enough for one day. So, although I can't stay here today, which I would like to, I'll come back tomorrow morning to do this bed. So you can see how, over the course of the winter, a lot of the compost has been taken down, a lot of the kind of smaller, fleshy stuff. And then what I'm left with is the sort of drier, twiggy stuff. That's fine. I just, as I'm tickling this bed over, just turn it in a bit. Add in a bit of roughage. Yeah, so that's the next bed this is the next bed to get sorted, because this is going to be for the coco de pampol, and I would like to seed this bed and those top 2 beds that I was talking about, the chickpeas, rocking cord, chard, spinach, etc. I'd like to get them all seeded in the next couple of days. And then my lovely broad beans, which I'll have to come this way to show you. Opla. Even with my great big shadow. All these kind of rebar bits of metal post I nicked out of the purple sprouting broccoli bed once the purple sprouting broccoli were out. I tried to put bean canes in. I couldn't. The ground is rock hard. So I managed to drive these in order to string up the beans off the path, because they were on the path like this. I don't know when to stop growing. Any signs of any pods? It's getting really close. Oh, maybe a few forming. Oh yeah. We can see if I get you. Sorry, wobble. If I get you right in. Oh no. Oh, there we go. There's my first pod forming. Yay! The ones that were cell-sown, you can see, can't you? A bit smaller, a bit floppier, a bit all over the place. The harvest, I'll get something from them. I would like to tie these up too, because I'm going to be starting to use this path soon. But I didn't have any of these metal posts left to get into the soil. However, now that we've had this rain, maybe I stand a chance of getting a pole in. We'll see. Okay, what's going on over here? Oh, lovely. Oh, cabbage white butterflies already. Oh, gorgeous. Pretty flowers. Oh, on the herb bed. It look lovely on a... Oh, let me come the other way. My shadow's doing my head in. It was lovely in the sunshine this morning. This won't really start to come to life for another month or so. One thing that has... Well, I'm not quite sure what happened. My Vivi, I completely snapped it. I lost my balance. I don't know what I was doing. I was taking, what I was doing? I was taking a shortcut, stepping stone, taking a shortcut into one of the other beds. Had a bit of a wobble, knocked it, and I think I've done for it. Never mind, I'll put something in its stead. And then look at the 2 tree lilies coming up. Yay! Now, previously when the tree lily comes up, it ends up being about 6 foot tall. What I don't know is, having moved it and it's getting itself re-established, will it perhaps this year be a little bit shorter? It doesn't matter if it is. I'm just delighted it made it, considering I'd skewered it through the heart. Oh, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. The hyssop is all greening up again. Oh, lovely light glinting off the insect drinking station. A little bit of pruning and tidying to do in here, not much. I'll probably leave it for a day when I've done a load of digging, a load of hard work, and I fancy a nice sort of gentle sit-down job. Brilliant. Then over to the cold frame, where, I think I might need to open it actually for a little bit. It's getting warm. It's the beginning of the seedling exodus from my flat. Oh my goodness. I will be bringing, that's one tray full, this is another tray full. I will be doing this, well, ideally, I worked it out, it's going to take me 16 days to bring everything from the flat. Oh, I haven't thought about the cucumbers, maybe 18 days. So, what I might try to do is, if nothing else each day, in the morning, bring down some more seedlings and water what is in here. If I'm staying for the day to do some work, obviously I'll open up the cold frame. If I'm not, I'll have to just leave it closed because I won't be back at night to close it in. But it does feel so great to be at this stage now of making a garden. It's funny, starting off quite so many things, hang on a sec, at home, it does mean that for ages, the beds look so empty. But then there comes a day towards the end of May, beginning of June, where suddenly I'll be planting 70 something peppers, 40 plus tomatoes, fingers crossed 20 plus squash plants, cucumbers, and I'll get all of that done and planted over the course of a couple of days, and then suddenly it will be like, oh, the garden is full, the garden is done. Well, as done as a garden ever is. Yay! Okay, let's just have a quick squiz what's going on the deck. Oh, how is this Taunton Dean doing? I did the other day pull out a load of Love in a Mist to give it some space. It's fine, it's just not really getting going. I've got a spare one to try somewhere else. This might have just been not the right place for it. We'll see. Ah yes, yesterday after I left, I purposely left the lid open of the compost bin because a lot of what's been going in here has been quite dry. So the idea was leave it open last night to the rain, let it get a good soaking, and of course, like we keep saying, that rain is, nitrogen rich. Let it get a good soaking, brilliant, and now I can close it again. And the warmth of the sun on the black can start to cook it. Hurrah! Had a few stalks of my rhubarb away, lovely. That verbena is well and truly coming back, and I also noticed when I was picking rhubarb the other day, the grapevine is coming back. I didn't expect to see that. I'll get that tied into the fence. And then this little area in the front, I have an idea for. Do you know what I think I might do actually is I think I mentioned this the other day, I might have a bit of a flower day. I'll get a couple of beds dug, that'll be the priority. But then as a sort of a rest from that for the rest of the day, have some nice gentle time tinkering with my flowers and bits. Oh look, beautiful. Absolutely laden with blossoms. I think I'm going to get a good harvest this year. How fantastic. So the deck is turning into what it always does every year. It's the seed starting area. First of all, at the back, that's my Taunton Dean cuttings. One of them has been massacred. My honeysuckle cuttings, this is what I mean about I need a flower day. I'd like to get these cuttings planted. My rose cuttings from Paul, and my two Cove Trontuda cuttings from Paul. I'd like to get all of these in the ground in the next few days, either in the ground or given away. A, because they don't want to be in pots. They're not going to grow in pots. They want soil. But also, I need to start giving myself space on the deck for pots and pots of trays. This lot seem really tardy. This was my brassica sowings. This tray is Cavallo Nero. Now, just to reassure, all the trays that they're sitting in, they're all seed trays, so they all have holes in the bottom, rather than gravel trays which don't. So they will drain, they shouldn't drown. Well, there's a handful there coming. Next tray over, I'm trying, it's not something I normally do. This is chard that I've started in the modules. I normally sow my chard direct, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go this way because Paul does it and he has great success with it. And I can just see a couple in here emerging and one in there. I think I put in 3 seeds per station. We'll see. Now this one, anything showing? What is this? Kale. Oh yes, there's one, and there's one. Is that it? Oh, and there's one. Is this my red kale? I think this is my red curly kale. And this one is purple sprouting broccoli. So there's a smattering. Phew, a bit late, but never mind. This is, what's in here? Oh, this is calabrese. Your sort of head forming broccoli, a few in there. And then this, I wasn't expecting much. This is a whole tray of fairly old seed for various types of Savoy. And there's one. That was a kind of a use up the seed tray. So, well, there are a few coming. This in a few days will be joined by trays and trays and trays of pots of beans, and when I run out of space on the deck for my trays and trays and trays of pots, I will then use the little path in the centre of the herb bed to lay out trays of pots on. Oh, sorry, skipped this. Let me come this side so my shadow's not in the way. It looks like I'm going to have one freesia bloom. Oh, sorry, bee. Oh no, look, there's another. So I've never grown freesias before. I don't know if any of you are experts, but I planted loads. I mean, in this pot, you know, it should be absolutely full of them. Oh, look, another flower stem, and there's a flower stem. But obviously tons of them haven't grown. So my question for anyone who grows freesias is this normal? Are they tardy in the first year? Will they go mad next year? Is it worth me keeping a whole pot just for freesias? I mean, I don't mind them being in the trough. They're not taking up too much growing space. But yeah, if you've grown freesias before, let me know if I should be worried or if I should give up. The marjoram is really, really coming back to life now. Oh, that smell after its vicious haircut. There's a peppermint down here which needs A, a haircut, and B, a bigger pot. And then finally here I've got all the sweet peas. They're still in their pots in that tray, waiting for me to plant them into this big pot on the end of the deck so that they climb up the obelisk. Oh, yeah, plenty to be getting on with. But what I like is, okay, there's no two ways about it. Getting the beds dug, that's hard work. But then I've got lots of nice little things to do. Seed sowing, lovely. Tinkering with flowers, planting up cuttings. Yeah, it's all doable. So yeah, like I said, if you're at the same stage as me, I mean, look, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beds not ready. Oh no, 9 beds not ready. Am I worried? Nah, it'll happen. It'll happen. So please, please, please don't panic if you're feeling really behind. Just make a plan of action. Think about in terms of timings. So for example, beans, peas, legumes, all those things can start to be sown direct now. So maybe concentrate on the beds for them first, and that's what I'm doing here and in this bed. And then when you've got those beds prepped and you've got your beans and peas and what have you sown, then you can turn your attention to the beds for all your tender plants: tomatoes, cukes, peppers, aubergines, squash, courgettes. You'll get there. And I will get there too. Oh, it's just so lovely to see the garden after a drop of rain. Lovely. Blooming, lovely. And I'm going to really look forward to a session, a morning, half a day, whatever, of tinkering with flowers and getting all this whipped into shape. Right. Oh, I really want to stay today. It's such a pretty day, but that's not going to happen. So I'm going to bid you all a very fond cheerio. See you all again soon. Take heart, everybody. Gird your loins, get stuck in, and in another month we'll all have garden again. Until the next time, cheerio.